My guest tonight is a comedian and an actor who is, of course, a cast member on Saturday Night Live. He's also starred in the Horrible Bosses movies and We're the Millers. Now you can see him in the series Ted Lasso on Apple TV+. Please welcome Jason Sudeikis. Jason, how are you?
Yes, sir. I'm well. All things considered. Yeah. You?
I'm doing well. But the big thing for me is the hair is out of control now. And
I feel like I got to match it there. Look
at that. Yeah, you got a lot going on too.
Might as well. If we're both going to do it, let's do it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I have,
I feel like we've done this before. I don't expect you to remember that because you've talked to a lot of people, but I've only,
I talk to a lot of people, and I'm also a sociopath who has no recollection of my human interactions. Let me begin, Jason, by praising your show. I binge watched the entire season, and I loved it. And I watched it with my son, and we were both just completely loving. I love the character of Ted Lasso. It's really fantastic.
Thanks, man. That means the absolute world to me. I'm so flattered, and I love that you watched it with your son. That's great.
Yeah, what's so nice is we're in this dark time, and what I'm responding to is the show is really funny, but also the character of Ted Lasso is so optimistic that I sort of feel like he's the hero we need right now. That's what I'm taking away from the show. Like, that's the guy who I think can get me through COVID.
I appreciate that. I mean, what's crazy to me is the fact that there's an argument to be made that maybe we could have used this guy, 4 or 5 years ago too. Maybe we would, but right. But like this whole idea was conceived, at least for the show, in 2015. Yeah. And my joke had been, leading up to the show finally, existing, much less premiering, is the big pill you had to swallow as far as the high concept of it being like a show about a guy. Who could ever believe a show about a guy who has no idea what he's doing being in charge of something as important as a professional soccer team? And like now nobody, everybody's just like, yeah, this is great. This is exactly like nobody cares. Like nobody brings that up.
You're trying to set that the stakes are really high, that he's taking over a mediocre professional, soccer team in England. And by today's standards, that's absolutely nothing. It's like, we'll let that go. I love the show. I want to talk about the show in a minute, but I want to first find out how you're doing in quarantine. I'm finding that I'm getting more kid time. Is that the same with you?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and it sucks, right? No, it's been,
no. Listen, to your point,
it's hard.
I'm not a fan of my family. I don't like them. And I find them off-putting.
Yeah, no, exactly. And knowing that I'm 50% responsible for how off-putting they are is real humbling.
I think you're 80%. I think you're 80% responsible.
Certainly with my daughter.
I've met your wife. She's lovely. No, you may be 90% responsible for any negative qualities.
I'm louder. It's just because I'm louder. I take up more space. That's all. but yeah, no, we've been getting after it. It's our kids are Otis is 6, Daisy's 4, and they it's been a lot of. Well, with Otis, I've been taking him through the classics. We've been doing Star Wars, and
you watch the classic movies. That's great.
We're taking him through that because I'm not a good teacher. I was never good at, even when I taught improv, at teaching level 1. I'm not Ted Lasso in that way. He's a much better person and teacher and leader and coach than I am. But going through, starting with the Phantom Menace and working through, our next one is Empire Strikes Back. But it's been a super fun way and very interesting way to teach, and I'm sure numerous people know this, to teach good and evil to your kids, and just how much they care and how much to have your little boy sit there and watch Anakin Skywalker get more and more angry as this Palpatine dude is putting, whispering things in his ear. I mean, I kind of have to I'm watching it with the eyes of what's going on in the news today. I'm like, oh yeah, no, Palpatine's a son of a bitch. He would absolutely be getting rid of mailboxes right now. I see what this slick MF is trying to pull. I get it. I see this coming a mile away.
That's a great way to teach your kids morality. I did it when my kids were really little. I made them watch Goodfellas. And
Yep.
And I just basically, so that they could learn that if the mob wants to take over your restaurant, don't do it because they're going to sell. And it was not the good lessons they needed to learn, not as clear cut as what you're talking about.
It's good fellas, not good lessons, right? I mean, that's it's right there in the title. But we just watched E.T. this weekend. We started too late on Saturday night, thinking, oh, we'll do it, wait till the dark. But boy, our little guy freaked out. He was so sad when the spaceship, spoilers everybody if you haven't seen E.T., but when the spaceship takes off and leaves E.T. on Earth, he freaked out in a way that was like, I mean, I felt, again, 80% responsible. It's like, I've never done that to you. I got immediately defensive. Right. It's like, he went to his bed and was just like, it's just so sad. And it was mostly because he was tired, because he watched it the next day. And the whole time trying to figure out, Daisy is hilarious. Daisy, when like Peter Coyote's character shows up with the keys and he's kind of ominous and you don't know who he is, she's just like, uh-oh, here come the cops.
She knows that at what age?
She's 3.5.
Right.
She's like, oh boy, here come the cops. Here we go.
Hide the weed. She has all these outdated ideas.
Yeah.
Speaking of kids, are your kids aware that you played a stormtrooper in The Mandalorian? Do they know? Because that would give you the ultimate street cred, I would think.
Otis is definitely aware. We haven't watched Mandalorian. We're not doing the full universe, just the 9 films. So he hasn't watched Mandalorian yet. But he got to come to set that day. When myself and Adam Pally, who I know we got that call. Like, I mean, yeah, man. Like the 6 to 10-year-old boy in me was like, yes, I'll do it, absolutely. And then the fact that it eventually came out that that when that thing aired and my character, as does Adam's, punches Baby Yoda.
Yes, I was going to talk about this.
That hasn't come up yet. I don't think they don't know that yet. But
let's talk about this. The entire internet came down on top of you because your character, as the stormtrooper, you punch Baby Yoda. We have that scene right now. Let's take a look.
Waiting confirmation. Knock it off.
And there you go.
There it was. Yeah.
What else? Did you improvise that? Please tell me that.
I wish.
Just what you do when you see a Baby Yoda.
Exactly. Just haul off on a great Santini style. No, like the craziest thing about that is I did that thing months earlier, and it was one afternoon. Again, truly dream come true, dressing up like that, doing it, Otis coming down, and then went away, and then did 100 other things, writing the Ted Lasso show, shooting the all this stuff, life goes on. And then they rolled those episodes out, one at a time. And Otis and I were sitting in here, playing video games or something, I forget, on a Saturday or Sunday morning, and Olivia comes in with her phone out. She goes, "Hey, you're trending on Twitter." I was like, "Oh, how about that?" And I'm not on, Twitter, right, actively in that way. And so immediately I was like, wait, why? In today's age, it's like, wait, am I dead? Did I die? Am I canceled? What happened? And it was that I was being canceled in real time, that it was like, you hit Baby Yoda. And I had like that moment, like the end of Sixth Sense or Ratatouille, where I'm just like, oh, right. I should have been able to anticipate 2.5 months earlier, when Baby Yoda became like the belle of the ball, on the internet and everything, everybody talking about. Yeah. I totally forgot that. Oh yeah, I backhand this little
you haul off and you really wail on Baby Yoda. And that's a career. I think that's a career killer. I'm sorry.
You would think, but because you couldn't see my face, because people, I can always say that it was, that they manipulated that. I didn't know they were going to do that.
CGI. They CGI'd your arm. That's what they did.
Exactly. It's like, I'll be damned. How did that happen? Yeah, it was all. So I'm still dealing with it. But I know what Jim Gaffney's going through. I get it. That monster.
I wanted to bring this up. Everyone, of course, obsessed, as we have to be, with COVID. Yeah. And what we're all dealing with COVID, and everyone's constantly trying to figure out, oh my God, my throat hurts. Could I possibly? You actually, one of the main symptoms for COVID that everyone knows is not having a sense of smell.
Yeah.
You have never had a sense of smell. Is that right?
That is true. Yeah.
You were born without a sense of smell.
As far as I know, because I don't remember ever being able to smell. So I think it was congenital, although something may have happened. So I I wasn't like a very I didn't fall and hit my head a lot. Like I wasn't like a fearless kid, like kids that climb up things. I mean, I did break an arm, but I don't remember having a head injury. So as far as I know, it's I've never had it, and yeah. And now here it is being a thing. So when I even mention it to people that don't know me or something, I'm like, oh, I can't smell. Like it'll just come up. They're like, oh, are you worried? It's like, oh no, I've never been able to smell.
Right.
And people are kind of like, oh, never mind. But it is a question of like, wait, how? Then you get the questions, well, can you taste? And it's like, no, but I don't have nuance. There's so many little subtleties that I've learned as I've gotten older. And I didn't even realize it all growing up, because as a kid, the only thing you really pay attention to what smells is like, something like pizza or cookies or farts, but then at some point when I was doing Second City and I was in the touring company, so we're in like a 9-passenger bus or van, and we're traveling around, going from Chicago to like Ohio State or something. And you pass through there were two things. I remember going past like some field or farm, and everybody was like, oh, roll up the windows, because it smelled like cow shit or something. And then once those windows were up, I remember there being another moment where people were like, oh, Sudeikis, do you have your shoes off? I was like, yeah. I was like laying down in the back seat. They're like, will you put them on, please? I didn't realize I had the stinkiest feet on earth. And that you kind of stayed. Tell. Had no idea. And it stayed with me. My first couple of years at SNL, at some point it kind of like went away. I don't know how or what. I didn't necessarily address it in a, meaningful way, but it kind of disappeared. But early on, Tom and Eric over at SNL, they would put my sneakers in a Tupperware. Because in a Tupperware, like and again, I had no idea, and it was super duper embarrassing, but they found a way to make it less embarrassing for me, and more importantly, to make it more tolerable for them. Yeah. And then I've got nothing.
Basically, it's toxic waste,
Yeah. Oh, 100%. But like my little girl, Daisy, she just last week realized it. Otis found this out ages ago, but she, we have a couple olive trees like in our front yard, and she grabbed a bunch of the leaves and she was like smelling like that. And she goes, Daddy, smell. And I'm like, I can't smell. She goes, no, smell. And I go up and I go like that. And I go, yeah, nothing. And she's like, no, you gotta go like this. I'm like, no, honey, I am. And it was like, like a comedy routine. And she just like looking at me and doesn't get it. But to see your little kid be able to do something that you can't do and have a sense of like a memory of it is bizarre. I mean, I can't touch my toes either, but smell, you'd think I'd still be able to do.
It'll come back. I swear to God. It'll come back when you least expect it.
Yeah. But I mean, if you had to lose one sense out of your 5, which one would you lose? Which one would you choose?
I think my sense of justice.
Oh, okay. Well, we're getting there.
Then I could act with impunity all the time.
Hey, you can get to the highest heights that way. Yeah, shameless.
Apparently, it doesn't hold you back. We have a clip here from Ted Lasso. I want to show this. Do you want to set it up in any way, or do you want help with this?
Sure. I believe it's from our 5th episode. So yeah, Ted is his wife and kid are coming over to visit, and so he's just talking to his boss. Which is the character Rebecca Welton, played by Hannah Waddingham.
She's great.
Deftly. She's great.
Great, yeah.
Did you watch Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's the gal, the Shame, the nun. Shame.
No,
Shame.
She is?
Isn't that great? That's a fun.
I didn't know that. Yeah, that's fantastic.
I know. I didn't know that because we're like the only couple that didn't watch Game of Thrones. So when she came in for the audition, and I was like, oh, she's fantastic. What else has she done? And people are like, oh, she's this. And I know it just as like a GIF. I know that character is a GIF, but yeah, she looks completely different as any of us can do with the.
Yeah, she is she owns the team, and she has hired you, and we find out more about why she hired you. But you guys are terrific culture clash throughout.
Yes.
So
that's what this scene is.
Let's take a look at this clip from Ted Lasso.
Morning, Ted. Hey, Hagen.
Is he dead?
I mean, it's my fault for staring at my phone. I just can't stop checking on my family's flight. I haven't shared this with too many folks, but Michelle and I, we've been having some marital issues.
Ted, you really don't have to talk about this if you don't want to.
Well, I don't mind. Tried couples therapy. Didn't like the other couple, though. Oh, it feels good to laugh. Yeah. Our therapist gave us this code word to use. So if either of us says Oklahoma, the other one has to tell the God's honest truth. Yeah, it's pretty helpful. Did ruin the musical for me, though. So now every time I hear, "Oh, What a Beautiful Morning," or sorry, with the fringe on top, or
Chubby Dance.
no, that's from King and I. Anyway, if I hear any of those tunes, I immediately think about my wife telling me that my constant optimism is too much.
And we're back.
There we go.
See how I did that?
It was amazing. Just a little head movement. You dip right back into
it. Yeah. No, seriously, I cannot more strongly suggest a television show right now, because it really is. It's uplifting. It's really funny and sweet. And I really think people are going to love it who haven't seen it yet. New episodes of Ted Lasso are available every Friday on Apple TV Plus.
Bingo.
So I'm really looking forward to, because I'm hooked. So I'm
great.
I want you to go make more right now in your backyard.
I can shoot little things. It'll be a little sloppy, but and he'll be on a bender. Ted will be on a bender because he's got his beard. But
Thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
No, of course. Thanks for having me, as always. It's always great to see you and chat with you.